Hello friends, welcome to Srivali's kitchen. Now I am going to show you how to prepare a simple chutney using Tuvar Dal or Kandi Pachadi. We call this Kandi Pachadi in Telugu. This is very simple and easy to prepare. All we need is Tuvar Dal, say about half a cup, dry red chili pieces, garlic cloves, cumin seeds or jeera, and tamarind, a small piece of tamarind the size of a lemon. Now we are going to dry roast the tuvar dal till they change color. Then we are going to dry roast the dry red chilies and jeera. We are going to let it all cool and grind it into a paste. Finally, we are going to temper it with mustard seeds, jeera and hing. This is a very simple recipe. This chutney will stay good for about 3 to 4 days if you store it in the refrigerator. You can have this with rice, dosa or even roti if you're feeling tired or lazy to prepare anything else. Generally, in Andhra or maybe in the villages or in say my grandparents' house, they used to prepare this chutney during night. Instead of a curry or a fry, they would prepare this chutney in larger quantities so that all the relatives, cousins, aunties, uncles who all are staying would have it. You can see it is starting to change color a little. That's because the pan is already hot. But yes, this has to change color nicely. You need to get that brown shade. Only then you're going to get the flavor out of the dal and it's going to add a nice zing to it. If you do not eat garlic, you can omit using it, or you can just reduce the quantity of garlic cloves. Right, so you see this color, don't you? This shade of nice brown to dark brown. This is the shade we want. To this, I'm going to add the broken dry red chilies and also jeera. Just toss it a little. Make sure the heat is on simmer at all times. We don't want to burn these. The red chilies don't have to really change much color. If they firm up and become crisp, that's enough for us. So we're just going to keep mixing and tossing this so that all of these get shaded properly. And then we are going to let this sit. Let it cool down and then grind it. You can either grind it into a real smooth paste or you can keep it a little coarse. That is entirely your choice. I mean, if you like to have it coarse, have little bits of garlic and tiny bits of the red chilies, you can grind it coarse. But if you're like me, you will want it to make a fine paste out of this. Another tip I'm giving you here is you can take a small quantity of the chutney separately, add some yogurt to it, mix it up, and you can serve it as a dip. That also tastes good. Just add some pepper powder or red chili powder, a bit tiny pinch of chaat masala on top, and bingo. You can serve it as a different flavored dip. Okay. This is starting to smoke up, which means it is almost ready. Right. Yes. So I'm just going to now turn off the heat and wait for this to cool. And then I'm going to show you once how it looks when it is half grinded. Alright? Free. So after one round of grinding without any water, this is how it looks. You can see it's coarse, grainy, and the tamarind and garlic are starting to release their stickiness. Now it's time to add some salt. around 1 spoon and a little more of salt. Now we are going to pour in water and grind it into a paste. Okay. We usually do not add red chili powder to this because we use only dry red chilies. But in case the dry red chilies are not hot enough for your taste, you can try adding a little red chili powder, though it is not actually advisable. It alters the flavor. So just to be sure, dry roast a few more dry red chilies in advance so that you can add those later to the grinding if it's not spicy enough according to your taste. So I'm not going to pour all the water at once. I've added a little now. So I'm just going to grind this one and then add water again. Okay, I'm just going to grind this one. You can see now that it is starting to come together. It is still coarse. If you want, you can stop it at this stage, or you can grind it a little more. Just add some water. Not too much. We don't want it too runny. We want it thick. Almost like a gooey thing. Okay, I'm just going to grind this again. You can see it is still coarse, but it is a little smoother also. The chutney is nice and thick. This is how we want it to be, not too runny. Okay. For those who like eating it coarse, say like my parents, we are going to stop grinding here. But if you want it real smooth, add some more water and grind it again for half a minute or so until it becomes a nice smooth paste. That's entirely up to how you like having it. So we are done with this. It's time for the tempering. I have the small pan ready. I'm just going to add some oil to it. We'll need to add a little oil because the dal soaks up the oil and we don't want it to be too dry. So this is around 1 tablespoon or maybe 1.5. It's not 1.5 also. You can add a little more if you want. Mustard seeds. Let's get the chili on, and jeera. A good hit of asafoetida or hing. It's a flavor enhancer. Once the mustard starts to splatter, we are going to turn off the heat, pour this tempering into it, mix it up and plate it. You can let it sit for some 5 to 10 minutes before you serve. And despite everything, if your chutney is not spicy enough for you, add dry red chilies into this tempering. Break it into small pieces, add it to this, give it a good mix when you add it to the chutney so that the dry red chili is going to release its hotness into the chutney. For that, you'll have to wait after you add the tempering for at least half an hour before you eat the chutney. Okay. This is starting to splatter. I've turned off the heat. Once this kind of settles down, I'm going to add it to the chutney. This is basically more like family chutney because the more the number of people in the house, the more the quantity of the chutney. We usually prepare it in the night, like I've said before, but you can have it anytime because now I'm preparing it for lunch. If you don't have any, say, vegetables left in the house, you can try this. Pour it in. Mix it all up nice and good, and then I'm going to serve it. So we have Kandi Pachadi or Tuvar Dal chutney ready to serve with rice, roti, dosa, whatever you like. Thank you for watching, and if you like my videos, do subscribe to Srivalli's Kitchen. Have a nice day.